Okay, that's cool. Who else jumping in here? Amy. Hi. Dean. Destiny. Hey guys. We'll kind of give it a second for everybody to kind of jump in there. Hi, Angie. Hi, guys. See? Full rooster teeth, bro. Or rooster hair, whatever. Rooster teeth. Who else we got? What's up, Call Me Cole? Cool. That's interesting. Hair is on point. There is a point to it. There's many points, especially back here. Hello all. So, I was on a walk with Pam and Traveler this morning. We call it our ABC walk because Pam drew on sidewalk chalk all the way around our neighborhood, like every 10 feet or whatever, different letters of the alphabet. And so we go, A is right in front of our house, and then B, and then if you know the alphabet, where this is going. So we're on our alphabet walk this morning, and then I came in, jumped into, grab a shower before we do this because I don't want it to smell for you people. And then people got an email. So if you have questions, man, if there's anything I can do to kind of give some clarity, then let's get into it. Which I kind of like that name. Let's get into it. But I will say I was a bit surprised by that too. So we're kind of on the same page. Cool. Yeah, Angie. Cool. So let's get into this. What questions? Okay, Carla. Cool. Thank you. Am I good? Am I happy? Yeah. Yeah. Why the change at this moment? Who asked that? What a great question. Kayla. Amy K. Yes, I'm great. So why the change at this moment? So here's the deal. You guys are savvy enough to know that no matter what, if you spend enough time and are close enough with people, and especially if you're like working together, traveling together, doing life together, it's just like we've seen here in like the community. It's like you're gonna like rub up against each other in ways, and that's just because everybody is different, and the way that they want to do things is invariably going to be different. So there's a direction that I really wanted to go in, and there's a direction that Nolan wanted to go in, and they just started getting too far apart. And because we care about each other, because we want to support each other, we started stretching to support. And at some point, that stretching can become too much of a strain. And I remember, for those who care about this band, when Toad the Wet Sprocket broke up, Glenn Phillips said the band was getting in the way of their friendship, and the friendship was far more important. I was like, dang, dude. And I greatly respected that of them. So the last thing, look, this is all about relationship, right? And so that's what's most important. And we don't have to be in retro replay to be friends. But you got to be friends to be in retro replay. And if that starts becoming too much of a strain, then it's like, whoa, this is far more important. So, yeah, there you go. I'm bringing up Toad the Wet Sprocket 20 years later. It's actually 20 years later too. So there's, you know me, man. I have got so many ideas, and it's hard to contain them at times. And there's just a lot of stuff that I was wanting to do that wasn't a fit for what Retro Replay wanted to do. And so I was left to a choice of either I could try to make that be something that it's just not going to be, or I could go off and do it on my own. So I'm like, what does that look like? I've got ideas, and this is happening very quickly. It's happening a lot faster than I wanted it to. I would have preferred to make that announcement, like all of us together. But obviously what they're doing, I support and I love, and look at what it's given all of us over the last 3 years. So, what is most important to me is that we all continue to do life together, and that we continue to have community together. That's what's most important to me. So I'm a little nervous. I'm a little scared. I've never done this by myself before. And if you guys are down to stumble through this with me and help me figure this out, then I'd love to do that with you, because we're gonna have a lot of fun, and we're gonna do some really cool things. And if not, totally fine. But you've heard me say this a lot. I have to do what makes me tremble, and I'm trembling. But this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do with my life. I want to create content in a community that serves no other purpose but to encourage each other and to make the world a better place. And I know that sounds like a very lofty goal filled with platitudes, but it's the truth. So yeah, throw up some hearts if you're down for a little adventure. Thanks. So, cool. Hopefully you guys have seen, like, I don't know, start asking questions. I don't know. See what I mean, man? Look, the one thing I can promise you guys is that it'll always be real. And, that's it. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, the email today was a surprise. Thank you, Incognito. I appreciate that. Salvatore, I receive that love. Boom. What is the channel going to be about? Do you have any ideas already? Carla Pellicari. Do I have any ideas? Look, if you know me, I always talk about being a storyteller, and that we are, and in our like basest genetic level, we are storytellers. All of us are just trying to tell our story, and we all tell our stories in different ways. Sometimes it's through acting, sometimes it's through music, sometimes it's through writing, sometimes it's through painting, sometimes it's through singing. Different people have different ways of how they are telling their story, but we are all just trying to tell our story. So I believe that we are all storytellers. So what this new channel is going to be based on is telling our story. How we get to tell our story, the beauty is that gets to evolve. When I first set out in life as a young man, because nobody sets out in life as an old man, or maybe they do, that's a whole different conversation, but I thought that my path, I thought that everything that I was going to do was going to be music. And so I was grinding it out and doing everything that you're supposed to do as an independent band, trying to get a record deal and trying to find ways to monetize that so that I could do that and not have to have another job. I could just make music. And then what I realized is that that's not what life really wanted to do for me. That was a very, very narrow path. At the root of it, what I really wanted to do was just tell a story. I wanted to be a storyteller. So once I accepted that the road got wide. It went from a single lane farm road to an 8-lane interstate. And now I can sit on a couch and play retro games. I can do a podcast. I can do film. I can do video games. I can do music. I can paint. I can write. I can direct. I can do all these things because at the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is tell my story. So for me, that's what I want people to come and support is like, how do you want to tell your story? And if there's a way that I can help you tell your story, then let's get crazy. Let's get down with it. So that's what this whole new channel is going to be about. And I just want to do it right. So if you'll be patient with me, then we'll do it. I'm not going to rush into anything. Thanks, Rose. I appreciate that. Waldorf Trevor, what is your leisure hobby? What does this word leisure you mean? Everything I do, I'm passionate about. What most people don't know and what I miss playing poker. I got into poker like super heavy, too heavy. I miss playing poker, but yeah, everything that I do is whether it be music, acting, writing, directing. I do love fitness. I do love riding horses, and that's something that I miss right now. Is something that hey, thank you, White Wolf. I see you. You are enough. Then that's what I'm trying to fill my hours with. Texas Hold'em. Texas Hold'em. Consider myself a storyteller and would love nothing more to make that a career, but not in one area. Exactly. Keep it wide. Keep it broad. Don't pigeonhole it down. And I believe that everything. Look at all the staff writers that came out of SNL. Look at John Mulaney. I don't think John Mulaney was like, all I want to do is be a staff writer on Saturday Night Live. When he's a brilliant actor and comedian, and I'm sure writer and creator. But him being able to do that equipped him and gave him the tools. So I refuse to look back and feel like I wasted time or that there was ever a bad situation. Yeah, I'm gonna miss the couch. You know, I'm gonna miss being in the basement. I'm gonna miss the drives down to Irvine with Nolan. I'm gonna miss that time. If you guys were watching on the member chat, one of the last shoots that we had before the Rona hit was we had like 8 people on set. And there was Stephanie that was coming in and checking edits from episodes that she was cutting, and Paul was on set. Paul Both, our audio guy, and his intern was there. We had Tom, the intern that was running around and helping facilitate the set. You had Drew that was handing out the episode notes that he works hard on. And then you have PJ setting up cameras, and I was like, holy shit, this is like an actual show. That's the kind of, I love that vibe. I love being on set. Even if it's a shitty movie, I love being on a set. It's the greatest feeling. It's a great environment. It's this hyper bubble of creativity and passion that's just, it's like being at summer camp. So I'm going to miss that for sure. But I get to recreate that, right? And I get to do it, that's duplicatable. That's the beauty. It's not like, oh, you can only have this. I get to go and do that all over again, and I get to do it with new people, and I get to give people who didn't have that opportunity, that weren't on that set, to go, those are the people that I want to do it with. The people that are like, I've never done this before, but I'm willing to try. It's like, kick ass. Let's fail together. Wow. Pause. Did we break the internet just now? You guys got me all? Whoops. Sky, I hear you. The ideas are, hear me in this, ideas are cheap. The expense is found in the execution. Putting things from mind to paper is the challenge. That is the obstacle. So if it's hard, if it's a struggle for you right now, you're doing it right. Just keep doing it. Keep being diligent. And be patient with the paper or the screen. There you go, incognito. How can we help? Girl, you know, you guys are so supportive. Just keep doing that. Keep supporting each other. I would love to have your support in everything that I'm about to start doing. I want it to be as engaging as possible. It's going to be probably low pro, you know. It's not going to be a big cool set. But I think that right now that's kind of what people want. I just want to talk, you know. I have a dear friend, Brady McGowan, who has just been this persistent, great influence in my life. And he has the phrase where his desire is to have meaningful conversation in sacred spaces. And I 100% get behind that, man. I want to do the same thing. I want to have meaningful conversations that can be everything from laughing, tears for whatever reason, you know, you're laughing so hard or you're crying so hard, but whatever we do it together. But I just want to do it honestly. I just want to do it. I think it's far more important for me to be real with you guys than it is for me to be something that I think you want, even if that's not always pretty. So, guitar pick. I have a tendency to chew on guitar picks. That's one only like, some people like chewing their nails or whatever. I chew on guitar picks. So, thank you, Carla. I appreciate that. Bye-bye, dude. Big love from France. Merci beaucoup. My son knows how to count in French, by the way, to 3, but he actually can do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how far he gets. He's not even 2 yet, by the way. Truth always, right? Truth always. I think it's far more believable that, you know, if you pretend to not have any problems, people will call you on your bullshit. It's not about having problems, it's about getting through them, right? It's about finding a draft moment. So, questions, anybody? I'm here. I don't want you guys to favorite guitar pick flavor. Jim Domlock Gray. So, what questions do you have? I don't want anybody wandering around being confused or feeling weird. Candy I do, but it's down in Irvine. Are Nolan and I okay? No. But we will be, you know? It sucks right now. It's kind of hard. And the only reason why it is hard is because there's love, you know? If you don't care about somebody and you don't... a friend of mine on set one time, somebody asked him if they were doing this comedy, and they were like, "Was it so much fun on that set?" He was like, "No, it was miserable." He goes, "But where there is contention, there is care," and I agree with that. It's when there's contention, it's because two people really care about each other, and I think it's important that people see that it can be a struggle to be in relationship with each other, just as you guys have struggles with the relationships that you have, and that what's important is not what you're struggling with, but how you're going to get through it and how you get through it together, you know? But to pretend that it's not there and act like everything's fine doesn't serve anybody. So, yeah. Cool. Thank you, U.S. Military Bat 5150. That's a great name. I'd rather be honest with you guys. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Hey, Amy, get some sleep. Thank you. Thank you. tomorrow about this time we'll do some music, right? We'll get out some catharsis with that. Right on. And Angie, you're not gonna have to wait long. I just want to make sure that I do it right. And there's a lot of learning. Hi, Kelly. There's a lot of learning I have to do because there was a lot of people that really made that channel a thing, right? There was no one person. The amount of, especially Drew, the amount of work that Drew did just on the daily is impressive. PJ comes at, with 25 years of experience in building shows and learning how to steer a ship. Just even where plugging in stuff. PJ would be the first one up on a ladder and the first one up rigging a light. He's not afraid of work, and it took a lot of work to make that channel happen. And that's with a lot of people with a lot of experience. And I don't have either of those. So what I do have is a cool camera that Logitech sent me, a couple of lights that Elgato sent me. I've got a couple of guitars, a piano, and my phone, and just a big desire to tell my story. So that's what I've got. So if you're into that, thank you, Steve Saylor. Far better, right? Who's Max? Dude, a lot. It's like showing up to the Chicago fire the next morning going, what did I miss? Traveler can be my grip. He can be, dude. He would love to hand daddy stuff. Thank you, Dean. Thank you. That's honestly what I need. I appreciate that. How was your experience with Retro Replay changed since joining Rooster Teeth? Dude, that's been a stretch because clearly Rooster Teeth is good at not only helping companies grow, but also helping their communities grow. And our community went from 100,000 to 265,000 people. So they're good partners. I think that what Retro Replay was doing was outside of what Rooster Teeth normally does. So that could kind of be an interesting challenge of how to do that. But clearly what those people, what that community has done from Bernie on down is proven. And what I love most about what Rooster Teeth does is how well they look after their community. So that there was a lot that I've learned through being partnered with Rooster Teeth. An army of supporters. Oh my goodness. I feel like I was gonna say something. I don't know what it was. Wait. What did you say there? Amelia Brown. Hey, thank you for being here, Amelia Brown. I'm glad you got that message. Oh, dude, I was gonna say something really cool. Forgot. Shoot. What else? Hi to Allie and me. I can't say your name. Mikey Keoman? I wonder if we all knew that we would have to choose these screen names and they would be around for us forever if we might have been a little bit like, maybe just like Moon Alchemist. That's an easy one. I got that one. Red Jive 7, dude, music tomorrow. Let's get into today. Today, oddly enough, is going to be like setting up your home studio, and I was going to show you guys how to kind of work with Pro Tools a little bit. Yeah. So here's the question: do you guys want to like talk about some cool stuff? Not that this hasn't been cool stuff, but I originally set this out. I dropped my pick, by the way, and I don't know where the camera cutoff is, but I don't want to go digging around in my crop. Oh, there it is. There it is. Benchenko 341. Great memories, man. We'll be beginning when does the Abbey CDs vinyl? Dang it, where the box? The boxes? Yes. There's something coming with that. Yes. Today is me handwriting lyrics, and the vinyls are in, the CDs are in. I need to sign more CDs and ship them out. Okay, so here's the question. Do you guys want to talk about home studio stuff? Do you want to keep talking about this? Do you want to get more into this tomorrow and talk about stuff like that? Now, I was going to have, if anybody, hair to the camera. Boop, 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 boop. What is going on? It's a little, is that Dwight Yoakam? No, not Dwight Yoakam. Dwight Yoakam had no hair. Who was the guy that had this? I don't know. Conway Twitty? Maybe that's who I'm thinking of. Thank you, Star-Lord, 1985. What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to have, if there's any musicians in here or people that are trying to make music at home, I've been having so much, oh, that's what I was going to talk about. Pen that, we'll get to that, and this is teeing up that. Home studio, Beatles Pock. Okay, cool. Brief update on the Breathe project. Holy crap. There's almost 100 musicians on this project. We had, I think, 75 to 80 people. I'll have to, Wayne knows, submissions for singers to be on this. Bring it in 5. Sorry. So we had like almost 100 people. John Titterington is home tracking his stuff. Wayne is not only tracking bass, but also organizing the session and MDing and producing this. And then AJ tracked his drums from home. Bowen tracked his guitars from home. I tracked piano and vocals here. And then with the thanks of Moon Alchemist, Kristen VR, Robot Ninja Shark, Ryan Smith, and a lot of you blasted this out to the community and said if anybody wants to be a part of this. They helped facilitate getting all the materials to you guys, and we got so many we had to cut it off. So we had like, I think 80 people. Paul Cartwright is on this. Jesse Malloy is on this. I mean, like, dude, there's like, I think John's dad is going to be a player on this. This thing has just grown and grown and grown and grown and grown and gotten to be this really cool song that started right there with me sitting at that piano looking out that window when all this started. So I think some of you will be listening to this song kind of through a different lens now. Because it's easy to feel alone. And the whole purpose of this song was to remind myself and you that you're not alone. And that if you're paying attention, if you're keyed in and will listen, you're actually surrounded by a big chorus of people that hear you, that will tell you that you're not alone and that they are the ones who will help you breathe. Wayne and I have been figuratively burning the midnight oil, but quite literally up to midnight or later, working on this song because we're all just doing this when we have time. And damn straight White Wolf. So being able to do this song together and people just sending us, because normally, like, if you were in the studio, you'd be like, cool, can you pick it up at bar 106 real quick? I like what you did, but I just want to make sure that the organ kind of stands up a little bit more in this. Instead, what we have to do is John will do a pass, send it to us, Wayne and I have to come together at night and we'll all listen together like, you know what, now that, because you didn't really hear this other part that Bone was doing, so now actually, and then we have to go back and forth. So it takes a long time, but it's been a super fun project. Wayne and I laughed so hard last night. And like me, Wayne, and John all got on FaceTime together and had just all of this great hangs. So I think you guys are gonna love it. I think you guys are really gonna love it. Well, yeah, man. So I think Wayne is gonna try to jump on. If you guys are musicians and you've been wanting to figure out how to track at home, if you've never worked with Pro Tools before, he flies through. I'm quick, but he is really efficient, and especially like he could show you the session for Breathe, and I think we're up to 86. Hey, Emily. Thank you. I think we have 86 tracks, maybe so far, and actually it'll be over that because that wasn't with all the singers in there. So I'm just kind of scrolling through to make sure that I haven't missed his invitation. Anybody seen that? I love seeing all this You Are Enough too, guys. Hey, Hope World, you are a part of it. Just know that. This is how you're participating in it. If I were a mumble rapper, what would my name be? That's a good one. Yum, a man. Actually, the next one underneath that would be pretty cool. Oh man, 11 others. Let's see, let's go live with viewers requests. How do I add? Oh no. This is fun. How do I add? Do I do this? Oh, go live with. Here's how I do it. Aha. Dalton Miller, I see you in here. Look at all these people that are in here. Holy crap. Let's see if I can search. See, guys? Wayne. Bam. That's how I do it. Return. My goodness, my gracious. All right, trying to figure this out, y'all. Come on. Go live with somebody. Here we go, Wayne Miller. I see you, Wayne Miller. Now, go live. Oh my gosh. Why won't it let me do this? This is frustrating. I don't know, maybe I have to... Okay, there we go. Now... Go live with... How do you do that? I don't know how to figure this out. Try turning it off, on and off again. Fantastic. Questions. What is the name of the channel going to be? Good question. Oh, this is great. I didn't know you could do this. Ugh. Mansa. That's weird. What is the channel going to be called? Working on that. I think that I have a couple of ideas, but working on it. Let's see here. We did it. Watch this, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Wayne G. Miller, live from Soma Studios in Hollywood.
Hey!
Oh my goodness.
We made it.
I was just telling people last night, how many tracks are in that Breathe Pro Tool sessions right now?
Well, the basic session is like 80 or 90, not including voices, and then we got like 70 voices. So it'll be a solid 150.
Solid 150. Do you get... Okay, so here, we'll get, maybe save that for a little bit later.
Sure.
Because I could easily start asking people if they want to, yeah, everybody say, hey, Wayne, there we go.
What's up?
If you guys don't know, producer, musician, MD, coffee aficionado, uh, all around good dude, and one of my favorite people to collaborate with. He's a great dream partner, Wayne Miller. Um, and this is who we did Wayne and I played together on my first record, Sitting in the Fire. Wayne
Yep.
came to me and said, I want to produce your next record. I said, I like this idea. So that we did the whole Window to the Abbey, and he did that thing from the top down, producing, playing, and often engineering, and mixing. So this guy knows how to do, and you've done everything from huge projects. You've worked with, what was the smallest like session you've ever worked with? Would you think? We have 666 people on this one. It's like the number of the beast. I think what I wanted to kind of get people, bring you in for is like, if you have, if you're trying to record music at home, there's a lot of ways that you can do that, but sometimes you can be almost spoiled for choice and it can be super frustrating and overwhelming and a daunting task. And I think there's no worse killer to creativity than being bogged down by some technical problem.
Right.
So if you guys have questions, I would love for them to kind of focus on like making music at home. And then how do I can scroll through here. Boop, 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 boop. If you want to be noticed, you're noticed, because I'm looking at your questions right now. One thing that would be really good is, would you say that, because especially we're talking about Pro Tools. Pro Tools is kind of like a standard thing, and it's something that A is free. You can get, and I think with that you get like a certain amount of tracks. So you could do like, I can't remember what the limitation is, but especially if you're creating music, or is there a free version of Logic, or if you're trying to create music, what would you say is the better route to go with?
GarageBand's obviously a great first thing.
Okay.
If someone has a Mac, Pro Tools free is cool. I think you get 16 tracks with Pro Tools free, which is pretty good. Obviously, it's not 100, but you can definitely get down the road. So yeah, I think the biggest thing is like just what you're talking about, being spoiled for choice. A lot of times, the best thing to do is just work with the tools you have. So if you have a couple of software, pianos, or a couple of drum sounds or whatever, just make those work for you. I think some people feel limited by that, but a lot of times that's where the most creativity comes, like you said, when you kind of have fewer options.
What is most important, like if I'm recording at home, or if someone here is just like, I want to record a song, what is the most important thing? What's the number one piece of advice that you would give someone when they're starting to get that song when they're trying to put that song down? What would you tell them to focus on?
The first thing I always say is just make sure your environment is comfortable and inspiring. So if that's your bedroom, if that's your living room, if that's your kitchen, whatever it is. I mean, it sounds funny because it doesn't really have to do with microphones or computers or anything, but just that in the first place, I think, can be overlooked a lot of times. And if it's the lighting's not comfortable or there's too much noise outside, just distractions in your environment are so huge, and can kill your momentum if you're getting into something. And then the other thing I always challenge people to think about is, again, just like the performance. Like, focus as much on sharing the song, telling the story as you can. It's, again, it's easy to get bogged down with, I don't have a great microphone, or I don't have a great interface, or I'm not sure how to use Pro Tools or whatever. But if you can just find a basic way, put one microphone up, play a guitar and sing at the same time, whatever it is, just to communicate the song, I think that's should always be the most important thing. So
I have a tendency, and especially now when it's so easy to have like software instruments and stuff, and there's plugins galore, but I could literally have like, or I could have a full string section, and I a lot of times will want to, I have so many ideas in my head that trying to just get all of those ideas down is a struggle. What is a good piece of advice for kind of like trying to funnel all those ideas?
Yeah, I think time is always the kind of barrier or parameter I put. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do production today. So that's guitars. That's, I hear this loop idea. I hear this synth idea. And I'm going to do all that today. And then tomorrow I'm going to do something totally different. And I may revisit that, but I'm sort of going to give myself only so much time. So I might be like, hey, for the next hour, I'm going to work on horns. I'm going to get as far as I can in an idea in an hour, and then I'm going to go to the strings, and I'm going to go to keys, and So I try to kind of make a game of it that way, and I find that like I'm just able to move quicker, and then I can be more, objective about the decisions. And of course, you can revisit it later and make tweaks. But I usually find like first or second instinct stuff is usually best anyway, and usually that stuff comes pretty quickly. So I'm rarely am I like, oh man, I need to be on hour 4 of like horn revisions. You know what I mean?
Sure. 2 good questions that came in. First, Sarah, I saw yours. I'm going to skip to yours secondly. Wick said, how often do you get experimental with music? Do you find, Wayne, that is the goal for you to literally take the idea that you have in your head and get that exact idea, or do you just try to find a way to explore on that idea? Like, is it about getting a drum sample? Let's say that's like you want to get the drum sample down, right? Because there's gonna be some kind of loop that you want to work with. Do you say, let me just get the basic versions of these parts down, or do you find more inspiration from like taking that simple part and then iterating on that and getting experimental, and that allows the song to go in a different direction?
Usually it's about getting the part that's in my head down as quickly as possible, but then it always evolves from there. But I sort of have to hear it before I can iterate it, which, probably makes sense. But so it's really just like, oh, this is a drum idea. Okay, how quickly can I get it down? Even if the tones aren't right, even if it's a little bit sloppy or whatever, I'm just like, want to see how quickly it's going to work. We talk a lot about like a canvas, like getting the paint on the canvas and seeing if it works. And you can always strip it away, edit it, add to it. And with software, it's super easy. You could redo the drums on a song at the very end, which back in the day, that was very uncommon. Now we have click tracks and, editing and all that stuff that's really sophisticated. So yeah, I just try to get as many of the ideas down as quickly as possible, so I can kind of keep building from there.
I have a tendency to piggyback off of that. I have a tendency to just kind of have my iPhone out. If I have an idea, like there's a song that I had that I was like, I need to get this down right now. And I think it's really important. Like if you truly want to get into songwriting, understanding that sometimes that inspiration and that muse will visit with you for a brief period of time, and to be able to carve out time and go, I need to somehow put this idea down. People have heard me often say, keep a dream journal, keep a notepad and paper. If you are a writer, keep them by your bed, so you're not like, I'll write that down in the morning, or you get up right then and you write it down, or you pick up your phone and you do that melody that you have in your head and get that down now. And then you can come back and actually make it a bigger song. But if you have an idea, a lot of times for me, it can be stifling. If I have this idea, to go to my computer, open up Pro Tools, create a new session, make sure that, I need to do a software update real quick. Oh, hold on. Where exactly is that loop? Before you know it, that idea has just passed through me. So a lot of times it's great to just do the simplest version, and I'll just grab my phone and I'll pick up a guitar or turn on the piano, or even just hum that and have the lyrics down. So that to me is the first, like, start here. And I love even having those bass versions of it and then seeing how, like, where Breathe started. And it's now become this huge thing, because so many people, it's this smudgy version of what it started off to be, because there's so many fingerprints on it. But it started by me putting my phone up and just recording that. So I think that's what's most important, is to just have that and then sharing that, because I don't know if I would have done Breathe if I had not put it out on Instagram and showed people I'm working on this song. And it's very possible that song would have sat just in a folder somewhere in a forgotten Pro Tool session that I've been like, I never did anything with that song. So Sarah, to go to your point, like, you get nervous about singing in front of other people. You sing great in your car, but you're nervous about singing in front of other people. Forget about the people that don't matter and only sing in front of those that want to hear you sing, and everybody else doesn't matter. I think you guys have heard me say this. There's an anthropologist that said that when we were first walking around on this planet, we were singing before we were talking. Talking is actually a reductive version of how we used to communicate, because it's a far more evocative and emotive way to communicate. Because as you know from music, there's some songs that can be super happy or super sad, and we can express ourselves better lyrically and melodically than we can. FedEx guy coming by, 8-bit does not like that. Than we can just by speaking. It's the difference between like a video and someone like doing a text, or putting something down on a letter. You just can infer way more by a more three-dimensional part of that. So you were born to sing, is what I'm saying. So step into that and share it, because that's how we're supposed to be communicating with each other. I'm trying to work through these questions as well, guys. Shamanana, what is your name? That was a really vague Jim Carrey reference. Someone said, is GarageBand the best platform? Wayne answered this earlier. It's whatever platform works best for you. If I say GarageBand, you don't need to go out and buy a Mac so you can have GarageBand. It's whatever you have at your fingertips. There's so many apps on your phone that will allow you to do multi-track even. And even have like, well, there's a little simple drum loop, just 4 on the floor Ringo Starr special that you can put into drums. I will say that I've have really found great value in learning how to play to a click track and record to a click track, because there's nothing more frustrating than trying to go back and put guitar down or sing on something else and you're not sure where everything's going. Working with the click track is really, really crucial. I don't know why this doesn't do it by order of like time when these came in. So thank you guys for your patience on me working through these questions. But even like if you've never worked with Pro Tools, while I'm kind of scrolling through this question, it may sound super rudimentary for some people, but I do know there's some people on here that have never worked with Pro Tools before. So let's say you're working with Pro Tools. Wayne, just kind of walk through like just a simple way to create a session, like keystrokes and everything.
Sure. So actually, let's see if I can flip this. Yeah. So I got Pro Tools here. So once my screen wakes up. So if you see you have Pro Tools open here. I actually have the Breathe session up right now. And then if you go to File, you say Create New. You just title your session here. It'll usually you say which bit depth and sample rate you want to choose, and then you name it. I'll name it IG Live. And then it'll say prompt for location, so that's where you want to put it on your computer. So I'll say create, and I'll put it in my in-prog folder. I'll save changes. And then it'll just bring up a blank session, which is a little bit daunting, but what you want to do is go to the track menu at the top and say new. And then this is where you kind of get into it. You can say mono, stereo, audio track, instrument track. So let's say stereo instrument track. Create that. And then you got to use your inserts here, and this is where you can add an instrument. So you go to instrument here. Expand 2 is a great one that I believe comes with Pro Tools.
It does.
And this one has a ton of instruments, as you can see here. Pads, action pads, polysynths, brass. I mean, it has drums, acoustic piano, guitars, vocal samples, strings. I mean, you could make a whole, you could probably make an album with Expand, honestly. It's got so much under the hood, which is really cool. And then you can just create. And ideally, you'd have some sort of basic MIDI keyboard, basic USB keyboard, to be able to play anything from keyboards to drums to anything. And then you can just create an audio track. So let's say you played a piano part with Expand. You got your audio track here. You record, enable it here. And then you've got your record button up here. Or if you have keyboard, you press Command spacebar, And it's really pretty simple. I mean, the biggest thing, I think the biggest challenge is getting used to just how everything looks.
Hmm.
So the cool thing I'll say too about other DAWs like Ableton and GarageBand, there's Studio One, you know, they all look similar, but it shouldn't be overlooked that if you kind of can do some research and look up some YouTube videos and just see how they function, there might be one that just stands out to you visually, where you just go, oh, that makes
Sure.
sense to me. That button makes sense where that is. You know, when I first looked at Ableton after working in Pro Tools for years, I was like, where are these?
Right.
Everything's on the right side of the screen. It's like all the plugins are in different places. Now I'm used to it because I learned it, but
Hmm.
so really just find the path. I think that was really important to just find the path of least resistance for you. Don't worry about, oh, you know, Logic is better than this or that, or one's more expensive. Really just try to find the one that goes, oh, this makes sense to me quickly so I can make music quickly.
Here's
So,
a great question that I love because I know how you'll answer this. Pagan Plays says, "Do you write lyrics or music first?"
hmm,
Thank you for that, Pagan.
yeah,
That's her real
usually
name, by the way.
that's awesome. Yeah, if
And
I
her
have a,
brother's name is Christian, so great parents.
that's amazing. Yeah, for me, if I'm writing something instrumentally, um, oftentimes it doesn't feel like a song. So I write a lot of instrumental music. I compose things. I do music for commercials and TV shows and stuff like that. But if I'm just playing an instrument, rarely does it feel like a song to me. But if I strum a chord or play a chord on the keyboard and I have a little melody or a little lyric idea that pops in my head, then I'm like, oh, I've got a song on my hands. So that's how it works for me. It's kind of like the lyric, the melody, and a chord progression sort of all have to arrive at the same moment. And if I get enough of a spark on all three of those things that kind of feels interesting to me, then I'm like, okay, I'm writing a song now. So
Cool.
that's kind of how it is for me. I know it's different for everyone, and I do write instrumental music. Sweet ride out there.
That's right.
I do write music, and I collaborate a lot with people who also write lyrics and top line stuff. So it really just depends on the context. But if it's a personal song for me, usually it's all three: music, lyrics, melody, all arrive at the same time.
So, cigarette user says, "How to put your ideas into music?" That's a broad question. I'd love to see how you answer that one.
Yeah, I think it's all for me. It's all about emotion. So I will write lyrics in a notebook, and I will have like poetry and ideas in a notebook, and I'll review through those. I write a lot. I have thousands of notes on my phone, as I'm sure a lot of us do. Just so I try to get ideas down there, and then I always want to have an emotion that feels like I can feel in my body. Which, if I feel like it's a sad thing or happy or euphoric or whatever, if I can feel that emotion in my body when I think about a little line that I've written or a piece of poetry or a piece of lyric that I've written, if it affects me physically, then I feel like I can put it to music because I have a feeling that I'm now chasing. So then the music has to match the same feeling that that lyric gave me.
Right
If
on.
that makes sense. So it's all like it starts to filter through that emotional lens of like what is the story, and that helps me put a story or an idea to music more than anything else because I know it's such a like physical basic thing. Just like, does that guitar sound? Is it if it's happy and the song's sad and it feels too happy, then it doesn't go on the song, you know?
Hmm.
So it's kind of a nice, at least for me, like a nice filter to kind of like fit music to an idea.
Well said. Here's one from Katie Harrison. Got any good apps for guitar tuning? I can't find any. I use Polytune, which is a great
Same.
one because it's the same actual tuner that I have. They have a strobe version, so it's just really, really easy to see from your phone. It's very, very accurate for your phone. But there are a ton of them. Most of them are either free or very inexpensive. Typically, you just remove the ads, which can be a big, big pain in the ass when you're trying to just tune your guitar real quick.
Yeah.
But you'll actually see me tomorrow. I'll use my guitar tuner on my phone to actually tune. Something else that a buddy of ours, Chris Munzel, said, kind of coupling on to what Wayne said when he was talking about the session. Something that has really helped me, and I'm sure Wayne you'll agree with this. Having a template that is already built, and there's like a songwriting template that I have where it's like, here's my drum, here's my click, here's my drums, here's my bass, here's my guitar, here's my strings, here's my horns, here's my vocals. It's already built. Everything's already built. So I can fire it up really quick and then do whatever I want to do in that song and then just click file, save as, and then it becomes Breathe. so that I never save. I always had that template that's there, and then it just keeps changing, and that same template is now applied to this new song. So don't think that every time you open up Pro Tools and you have a song idea, you want to just, now I got to create a drum track, now I have to create a click track. Have that template built, and maybe do that template when you're not necessarily inspired. So do it when you're like, I'm just sitting here, I'm like on my laptop or my computer, and I can just build a Pro Tools session right now while I'm watching an Instagram Live or whatever.
That's great
You'll
advice.
have it there always, and it'll just get you into creating a lot faster.
I totally agree, 100%.
So let's see here. What are you doing? Blah, 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 blah.
Pro Tools also has a ton of templates, by the way, really quick, that are pre-built. So you can say create from template. I haven't, to be honest, I've never used this, but I see they've got pre-populated sounds and tracks and all kinds of stuff. So anyway.
Jamie Vera Guitar, I think I said this right. What is the best way to mask background noise from your computer and so on? That's something that a lot of people who don't have a $150,000 studio or $1 million studio, that's going to be the biggest thing that how do you tackle that, Wayne?
Well, I always try to control the acoustic environment as much as I can, which I know is difficult. Before I had a studio, I had a little dining room set up that was next to my kitchen. And so when I'd go to record, I'd just turn my fridge off and close on my windows, and I'd have to remember to turn the fridge back on. But yeah, there's this thing called the Chaotica eyeball, which is like an acoustic shield that goes around a microphone. And there's some that one's a little on the more pricey side. There's some more basic ones too. But that's just like a really basic way to isolate a microphone from environmental noise. Of course, there's isotope plugins and all that kind of stuff that can remove noise and stuff after the fact. But enough can't be said for just getting a nice isolated sound, even if it's just putting up sliding your clothes to the side in your closet. And one thing that gets overlooked a lot, which people don't talk about that much, is actually what's behind your head, because the microphone is pointed this way. So even those shields that you can buy that go around the microphone, those are only stopping what's going this way, but the microphone capsule is pointed that way. So there's actually a lot of noise happening back here. So if you're able to stand actually with your back more near a wall and put up a packing blanket or a sleeping bag or a stack of pillows or something, you might actually get a better result as far as
all this foam here.
Yeah, exactly. Because the capsule is pointed that way. So
if you guys saw last week, I kind of walked you through my booth. One thing that's really important is taking your microphone and making sure that it's angled towards a corner as opposed to flat up against a wall, so that you've got two unparalleled surfaces that are coming this way. And then you want to treat this right here too, because if you're shouting into this, it will bounce here. So treat this and then treat this behind you as well. And that will kill a lot of that, what people call echoey sound. Bottom line is this, because we're running out of time, but the bottom line is this: it's not always about having money to throw at the problem. There's so many solutions that exist. And I always tell people, Bon Iver's first record he did in a cabin on a 4-track recorder. Pink Moon, Nick Drake did on a 4-track recorder in his apartment. So some of the greatest albums that we have, some of those influential sounds, were not done super high fidelity with a lot of money. It's about first looking inside and making sure that the song that you're writing, the music that you're creating, is matching the emotion, and that ultimately you remember that what you're trying to do is just tell your story. So tell your story as simply and as relatably as you can. And one thing that Wayne always encourages me to do first is, before you start thinking about the horns, before you start thinking about the drums, and before you start thinking about the strings or the singers, lyrics and melody. That's it. Because the song will be the song no matter what version you do. So just focus on the lyrics and the melody. Focus on you telling your story. And the song will come. You just have to be patient. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'd love to keep doing this on every Saturday. We'll talk about how to set up your home studio, or like today, whatever life is dealing you on that particular day. Tomorrow, I would love for you to join me. We're going to do more music, 2 p.m. Pacific, which will be 10 p.m. GMT. I'd love for everybody to be here. We'll go through and I'll play as many songs as I can for you guys in an hour and tell the story. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay connected. Thank you guys for being here. We'll see you tomorrow too.